Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is our big show where we show you all the books that are up for pre-order this week. Your pre-orders are due this weekend, so don't miss out. So you don't go into your store and wonder where everything is. It's because you maybe didn't pre-order it.
Should have pre-ordered.
Should have pre-ordered it. There's a lot of really awesome books this week that we're going to be going over, so let's get into it. Starting with our featured comics.
And we're going to start with the original X-Men. So this is a new... Did we figure out yet if it's a one-shot or...
Still cannot figure out if this is a one-shot or a mini-series.
Yeah, not quite sure yet. Definitely not an ongoing. We know that for sure. But this is a story. We're not sure how long it lasts, but it's a story about the original 5 X-Men.
Pretty positive it's a story.
I think there's artwork inside. But this is about the original 5 X-Men. You know that they have traveled to their future, which is our present day, and the all different X-Men several years ago. Went back to their time, had their memories wiped. Well, they are going to get wrapped up in another big adventure. This one's more of a multiversal thing, a multiversal mystery. But one hero is going to get trapped in whatever alternate world they travel to, which makes you think maybe it is a mini series. Maybe we got to find out like how they get back, that kind of thing. But it's also going to feature shocking surprise guests. So that should be pretty interesting. This is going to be written by Christos Gage, and the art is by Greg Land. So if you like the original 5 X-Men, this is a brand new story for you to enjoy with those characters. So we have our A cover right here. We also have a John Romita Jr. homage variant, obviously homage to X-Men #1, and then a Mike McKone variant as well.
Very cool. I'm always happy to see classic X-Men back.
Yeah.
You know, always more adventures to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
So next up is Star Wars Revelations #1, or it should be called Star Wars Revelations #1 2023, because this is they've had a Star Wars Revelations before, but this is their, I guess now, annual thing. This is going to be the second one we're going to get. That's a lot like Marvel's Timeless book. There is a narrative in it, but that narrative is there to give you hints and teases about storylines that are coming to the various books for the next year. So this is going to be written by Mark Guggenheim. You're going to have various artists on the different parts of it. And it's going to go from the High Republic all the way to the original trilogy and beyond. So we can see some hints on the cover here of some of the stories we're going to be getting. It looks like a lot of it's going to be centered around Jabba. We do know we're getting a Mace Windu miniseries coming up. You've got the High Republic up there, of course, which is continuing. But I think a big thing on here is Thrawn, which we have not got a original story about Thrawn since the Disney acquisition in comics. We've had the adaptation of the Thrawn novels that have been coming out. We're going to be getting a new one of those next year as well.
Was there not a mini series that like was him like in his younger days? I thought I saw
that was based on the novel.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I'm wondering if we're going to be getting our first taste of Thrawn in ongoing Marvel continuity, which I think is really cool. You can see there's some mysteries on the cover too as well, like who's this character in the bottom center. Lando's in there. So I just think there's going to be a lot of really fun. These are always fun to kind of pick apart and see what's coming up for the new year. So we've got our A cover right here. And then we also have a DEODATO variant as well. We do know that Bounty Hunters is ending, I think with issue like 42 or 43, and we are going to be getting a Jango Fett mini-series by the Ethan Sachs, the writer of Bounty Hunters.
Very cool. So next is Batman Robin Live. So this is really cool. So this is kind of sorta a facsimile. It's a facsimile edition of Batman #428 from 1988. They're actually calling it a faux simile because what this is in the original Batman #428 from 1988. That's the issue where Jason Todd died. Well, the whole way that came about back in the late 80s, DC actually set up a 1-900 number where readers could call in and vote. Should Jason Todd live? Should Jason Todd die? And obviously Jason Todd died, although I think the vote was, I think it was like 72 votes more for him to die. So it was a very, very narrow margin. But when they were creating the book, they didn't know which way the votes were going to go at the time, so they actually went ahead and made the ending going both ways. We got the Jason Todd dying ending, but now in this book, this is going to show us that original artwork, that original story, if he had lived. Some of the artwork has been shown online
Hmm.
before. You can see the black and white Jim Apato's pencils, and it's been colored by people. But we've never gotten the full like rest of the story.
Yeah.
We've only seen
Any
some artwork. That's
context.
right.
Yeah.
So like the first half of the book or so is going to be exactly like the original book was, but then the ending is going to be different. It's going to be what would have been, what would have happened if Jason Todd had lived, just to show us, what if kind of thing. I don't think it's really going to continue on into anything else, but just showing us, the other side of the coin, basically. So that's going to be really cool. Plus, it's got all the original ads and everything, just like a regular facsimile edition. So I'm super excited for this. I've seen the artwork of Batman like holding Robin saying he lives instead of saying oh no, but
Yeah.
we've like I said, we've never really gotten the full story. We've only just seen a couple pages worth of artwork. So this should be really cool. I'm very, very excited for this. So this is our A cover. We also have a blank cardstock variant, and then there is a Mike Mignola. Oh, that Mike Mignola is the artist, but
Yeah.
there is a foiled version of this too.
Yeah, I think this is interesting too because I remember when that was like an urban legend that the art was
Oh
had
yeah,
been done for it, and people had said, "No, I've seen what the
yeah.
Robin Lives art looks like," and I think it's cool to rework it back into the story.
And
I
then the
think
internet came along. It's like, thanks, internet. You
it,
showed me that it did exist, or at
do
least
we know how
some.
many pages it would take? Is it just one or is it a
I
couple?
mean, it can't be very many because it was at the very end of the issue where he pulls Jason out of the rubble and is
Yeah,
holding him. So it can't be very much more than that. I'm thinking like 2, 3 pages
yeah.
maybe. But
I'm excited to read
yeah,
this.
for sure.
Okay, next up is a new book from Cullen Bunn, the master of horror himself, called Invasive. So this is by Cullen Bunn and Jess HERVAS, who I believe is your creative team from Empty Man. They got later turned into a movie and everything. But this sounds really cool. So especially if you're squeamish about hospitals
Mhm.
and surgery and all that, because that is what this is all about. This is about Dr. Carrie Reynolds, who is an accomplished trauma surgeon, but her life spirals out of control when her daughter, who is a recovering plastic surgery addict, goes missing. And so this kind of throws her in the world of trying to figure out what happened. And it's kind of revealed that there is a uh, like deep under the streets hospital that has popped up that has no rules, no taboos, and no oaths. So they're doing some crazy experimental surgery. Sounds like very dark. It's not like where you go to get good stuff
Right.
done. It's kind of black market feeling. And I'm guessing she learns that maybe her daughter has been pulled into this, and so she has to not only save her daughter but also try to shut down this horrible thing. I skimmed through a early review copy of this we got. You see like that face in the background. I feel like that's one of the people who works for this hospital.
Yeah.
These very
That's what I
like
was thinking.
creepy surgeons and everything. So it sounds really cool. Cullen Bunn does this so well, and this sounds like another one of his twisted stories. It's going to be great. So this is our A cover for that. We also have a Vecchio cover, who is your creator, writer on Lovesick, which
That's
feels
right. Yeah.
very fitting. And then we also have this Brian Level variant, which is very disturbing.
And next is The Bloody Dozen, A Tale of the Shrouded College, #1. So this is another entry, another chapter into Charles Soule's and Will Sliney's supernatural horror adventure saga known as the Shrouded College. And in this one, it's about 3 down and out astronauts. You can see them on the cover there. They're going to be tasked with breaking out a group of deadly vampires from a prison that's orbiting the sun in space. And when we talked about this on Wednesday, I didn't even realize the how cool of an idea it is for vampires to be, like vampires are susceptible to sun, they can't go outside, but
Yeah.
like now we're gonna put them in a prison right next to the sun. Like
Yeah,
that's
a
really
way to
cool.
really maybe depower them and everything.
Yeah. So, but these astronauts are gonna break them out of that prison. I don't know why. You'll have to read to find out. But it sounds really cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as familiar with the Shrouded College books. I guess there's more of them,
I
right?
think it's that Hell to
Like Hell to
Pay
Pay was
was
part of
part
it.
of
It
it.
does look sort of similar, so
That
yeah.
was the creative team on that
Yeah,
book.
yeah. So that was a good series. I didn't finish, but I really like that. So this sounds really cool too. So we have our A cover right here, and then we have our Albuquerque variant as well. I guess that's what happens when a vampire gets right next to the sun. He bursts into flames.
Okay, next up we've got Titans Beast World Tour Gotham. So this is continuing the one shot's going to be tied in with the new Beast World story, which I believe starts in a couple of weeks.
Mm.
Um, but I believe you talked about the Metropolis one
Last week, yeah.
and the Waller one shot, but this one it takes the craziness of Beast World to Gotham. So Beast World hits Gotham. The shape-shifting spores take root there, and we're gonna get multiple stories in this, which I do really like. This as a one shot.
Mm.
You know, you get each of the one shots. You're getting kind of your cast of characters from that corner of the DC universe. So in this one, you've got Nightwing faces off against a shape shifting. I don't know if it's a spoiler yet, so I'm not gonna say who it is.
Okay.
But I skimmed through this, and it's pretty horrifying. You've also got Killer Croc. So you got a guy who's already like he's well on his way to becoming a beast.
Yeah.
But what happens when that hits him?
I was gonna say,
It
what if it had
pushes
the
him.
opposite effect on him?
It doesn't.
Okay.
I can just tell you
Okay.
it doesn't. It may push him even further
Oh,
into
okay.
his crocitude.
Yikes.
And then, if you can see a little bit on this cover and then a lot more on the next one, you've got Harley Quinn who gets turned into a really jacked bunny,
Right.
which is very weird, very disturbing, but seems really fun. Plus, you've got stories with Red Hood, Huntress, and Spoiler, which I'm not going to say which of those remains human and which of those gets turned into creatures, but that does happen. So, a really fun one here, and you get a lot of different Bat family members and individual stories. And the first story is written by Chip Zdarsky, so it kind of fits in with a lot of the Batman stuff going on. So this is our A cover for that. We also have our Gilliam March with that just ripped Harley Quinn bunny. And we have this Cully Hamner variant as well. I believe you're seeing Red Hood
Yep,
on that
I think
cover,
so.
so
Very
very
cool.
cool.
All right, so next is GUMAA, Beginning of Her, number one. This is going to be a 7-issue series. And this sounds really cool. So there's a young girl, that's her on the cover. Her name is Khalida. She escapes from a drug syndicate and she discovers an ancient blade in a long abandoned temple. Well, she's going to use the mystical powers of that blade to become the goddess of the city, controlling the citizens through dark and magic and fear. Dark magic and fear, excuse me. But events are being manipulated against her from the shadows, and which sounds pretty cool. So somebody's going to try to take her down. There are some preview pages of this on Previews World. If you want to go look and see what the book, like 4 or 5 of the pages, like what the book looks like, and it looks really cool. The artwork is
Yeah.
really, really good. So I'm really excited to read this. Sounds like a sort of like a dark and creepy book, but with really, cool art. Like a girl, it sounds like she starts off being innocent,
Hmm.
but then she becomes not that, and then somebody else has to figure out how to make her back the way she was or something. I don't know, but it sounds really, really cool. And like I said, it looks really good too. So we have our A cover right here. We also have a Peach Momoko variant. We have an Oliver variant, and then we have a Ji Young Virgin variant as well.
And Jiyoung Lee is the writer and artist, or writer on it.
That's right.
He's usually an artist, but he's doing the writing. It's going to be
Yeah.
his like original thing. Okay, next up we've got other number ones. But before we get into that, just to remind you to head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can follow along. You can do all your pre-orders there. You can pre-order variant covers. You can subscribe to series. Everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of, which is a great deal for sure. Leading into the holidays, you also will want to use the code I Love Flux.
I love
You get,
Flux.
yeah, exactly. You proclaim it and you type it in. You get 10% off of your first order, which also will go with your
Pre-order bonus.
order, so you can get a 10% off bonus there. Just very exciting. Perfect holiday gifts.
Mhm.
We're really ramping up our. We've got some gifts under $25 on there. There's a lot of really cool stuff if you're looking for things for the holidays or for
I
yourself.
love the idea though that you have to proclaim "I love slugs" as you're typing it, or else it won't work.
Yeah, it pops up and says, you
You didn't
didn't say
say
the
it.
magic
Yeah.
word. Okay, we're moving into other number ones. Starting with this is Birds of Prey Uncovered. This doesn't require a lot of explanation. This is like the
Mm,
other uncovered books they've done with Harley and Joker, Poison Ivy. This is going to be a really nice collection of some of the best covers and variant covers to Birds of Prey. I'm not sure if it's just Birds of Prey or if it's gonna contain maybe like some covers that have those characters, but
yeah.
from other books. I know like the Harley Joker one kind of did that. But sounds really cool. It's always they always kind of weave a little bit of a narrative into it with some of the characters kind of commenting on the covers. This is the A cover. It's actually going to be a wraparound. You're seeing the back side of it here. We also have this Chuma Hill variant, which is a real fun homage to the 66
Yeah.
Batman. You've got the Zerdy variant, where Harley's trying out her new profession of tattoo artist. We have a blank sketch variant, and there's going to be a foil wraparound version of that A cover by Nakayama.
And next is Rom and the X-Men Marvel Tales. So you guys know the Marvel Tales line of books are reprints, reprinting classic tales. Well, now that Marvel has the rights back to Rom, we had the number one facsimile edition not long ago. There is a Rom omnibus, the
The
Romnibus,
Romulus,
yeah,
as it should be
as it
called.
should be called. Yeah, that's coming up soon. So now we are getting a reprint of the couple times when Rom crossed over with the X-Men back in the 80s. So there's going to be two different stories. It's going to reprint Rom 17 and 18, where Rom meets the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and then also numbers 31 and 32, where Rom runs into the X-Men again, and I think he sort of mixes it up with Kitty Pryde a little bit. So yeah, just some cool Rom and X-Men stories together. I do think that's the only time they crossed over. There was those four issues, like those two different instances. But if you want to read it, you can grab this and get those original stories. And this is the only cover for it as well.
Yeah, which is, I believe, a new Nick Bradshaw
Yeah.
cover.
Mhm.
He does a lot of the covers for these.
I always get him and Art Adams confused because they're so similar. But
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely inspired. Okay, next up is a new one shot in the Legendary Red Sonja universe. They've done Legendary was a book by Bill Willingham that used a lot of the Dynamite characters, but set them in this kind of steampunk universe. And then they later did some spin-off series with Legendary Red Sonja and other characters. But now we're returning once again with a one shot. This is Legendary Red Sonja by Katana Collins, and art is by Kubar Ball. And not a whole lot to say about this one. It's going to be a 40-page one-shot, so you get a lot of story there. And it just says Sonya is thrust into a tale of thievery, deception, and a mysterious painting, and the man who owns it. So it is kind of like Red Sonja meets steampunk. She's like this like pirate captain. It's a really cool aesthetic. And plus, you've got this great Sean Murphy A cover for
yeah.
that. Really cool. We've got an A cover here. And then we also have the Howl variant as well.
This is also like I love steampunk stuff, and there's
Uh-huh.
not enough steampunk comics. Like,
Surprisingly, not as many
yeah,
as you think there would
I
be.
have some of the Lady Mechanica collected
Uh-huh.
editions, and those look great. Those are very steampunky. And to have Red Sonja in that, I don't read a lot of Red Sonja, but I'm gonna check this one out because I love steampunk stuff.
Yeah, I recommend checking out. It's in a trade. It's just called, I think it's just called Legendary,
Okay,
and it's by Bill Willingham. I forgot who did the art on it. It Steampunk Red Sonja, Vampirella.
I've
I
never heard
think
of
I
that.
think maybe John Carter was in it. It's a lot of those characters, and it's really cool.
Nice. All right, so next is Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo Unplugged. So this is a reprint, technically, of the first two issues of Batman Joker, the Deadly Duo, that miniseries that wrapped up a few months back, written and drawn by Mark Silvestri. This is the collecting the first 2 issues of that, but it's kind of like a much smaller version of the IDW Artist Edition
Yeah.
books, where there's no word balloons, there's no dialogue of any kind, but it's all just the black and white line art. And
For Sylvester,
for
it's really
Sylvester,
nice.
yes, exactly. So it's not even inked or anything. It's just like you can see his raw pencils, notes and comments in the margins, that kind of thing. And to have that for Silvestri, who is one of the best, is super cool. So if you're a big fan of Silvestri's art, and or if you like the story, this is a great one to get. And like I said, it collects the first 2 issues of that series, and this is the only cover for that.
Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s, continuations of series. Want to make sure you did not miss out on. Just plus some really cool other continuing stuff. Starting with Spider-Boy #2. You know this one's a big deal. This is a huge deal around here. We sold out. We got so many copies of it and sold out almost day one. I mean, within the first like 3 days, we sold out of Spider-Boy. And with all that we've been hyping it and everything, it's great to see. But Spider-Boy continues in issue #2, where he, you can see, is going to go up against Taskmaster, which I love Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Always happy to
Yep.
see him
Mhm.
and stuff. One of the greatest designs of a character. It's like if you got an 8-year-old to design a
Yeah.
supervillain.
I've
It's
never understood the skull, but it doesn't matter.
he's got a bow and arrow, a sword, a hood, a
A
skull
shield,
mask, a shield,
Buccaneer boots,
buccaneer boots.
and like 5 different colors in his costume: the white and the orange and the
Yeah,
purple
he's
and the
just
blue.
like if
Yeah.
you took all these different characters, threw them in a blender,
Yeah.
and what you get when you come out the other side. So that sounds really fun. Plus, Spider-Man is gonna get some tips on, you know, training sidekicks by Captain America, who we talked about in our last video. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, because he got Bucky killed
Right.
or got put in that position, but he came back and he's great now. That sounds really fun. Plus, a backup story where Spider-Boy teams up with Santa Claus to kick some humbug butt.
Some
So,
humbutt.
some humbutt. I don't even know what a humbutt is, but he's gonna kick it. I also love on this cover he's drinking out of a straw. You can see it's like lips pursed, but it's
Yeah.
like, are you like sucking it through the material? Because that's gotta be pretty cool.
Well, he's got that mask made of unstable molecules because he has the mouth
Oh,
with
so
the
maybe
teeth.
it like
So
kind
it
of forms a little
yeah,
mouth around.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because he can't open his
Right,
mouth.
right.
So I guess it works. It's still weird.
It's comic books.
Comic books. Also, great seeing Humberto Ramos draw this character because it just feels like I'm reading back on Spider Island or something like that
Yeah.
again. So this is our A cover for that. We also have the EJ Sue variant, which is very cool. We have this Humberto Ramos Ski Chalet variant. And we have this Paco Medina homage cover, which we were talking about what we thought it was an homage to, and you mentioned that Captain America, Black Widow,
And Wolverine, the
coming
X-Men
from.
cover from Jim Lee. I don't remember the number, but it's not quite the same angle, but it's the same character positions, and Spider-Boy's in the crouch position like Wolverine was,
Yeah.
even though he was more like this, but I feel like it's that. And they released some a couple preview pages of this issue online today,
Oh,
like the interiors, and it looks great. Like I'm so sold on it. Yeah.
so good. Issue #1 was great.
So next up is Titans Beast World #2. This is the main 6-issue miniseries. And one thing I wanted to mention too is that this, so this is another crossover, but there's only really the main 6-issue story, and then there are a few tie-ins, but they're all one shots. And I
Yeah.
think there's maybe 4 or 5. Like there's all those World Tour one shots, and then
Yeah.
there's a Waller Rising thing. But there's not all that many parts. And if you want just the main part or this main story, it's this book right here. And this is the only 6-issue. This is the only multiple issue thing. So this is issue #2 of Titans Beast World. The beasts, like everybody, I guess, or not everybody, but some people have been turned into beasts thanks to these like weird spores that are pilfering around the world. And they're rampaging through the streets, and there is a world conqueror in the sky, which I found very interesting. Oh, I guess that's maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Will the team stay clear of the spores, or will they become part of the threat? And Raven is going to have to try to find a way to save Beast Boy, which I think, well, I won't say anything about, but you can get some of that from this cover here.
What?
Yeah. So just the second issue, the first issue has not come out yet. It seems like the first issue, I just don't think it was on FOC until like last week, I think.
Really?
Yeah. So I think.
Yeah, because you talked about it before.
Yeah, because
It's gone,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think issue 1 was on FOC last week. Now we have issue 2, so we haven't been able to read it yet.
Weekly or is
I don't
this?
know. Well, I mean, this comes out on December 12th. The other one, I don't remember when it came out. It has to, maybe it is weekly.
That would be. I mean, I think that'd be cool,
Yeah,
especially since it's not that long.
right. But anyway, so there is the A cover right there, and we also have a Bjorn Varen's cover. We have a Kendrick Kunka Lim cover. And then I should have just said Lim for that. And then we have a Clayton Henry, a lenticular variant.
So I wonder if you're gonna pull this back and it looks like regular Black
Oh, that would
Adam,
be
and then
cool. Now, it does say that this cover is going to be allocated, which means you can submit your order with us free and clear, but we don't know how many we're going to get. We
yeah,
might order X amount, but we might not get X amount. And so we'll just have to dole those out as we can. So,
they're pretty good about it.
okay.
But just
Yeah, just heads up, you might not. Yeah.
I will also say, because I've skimmed through this issue, that you will read this before you read the Gotham.
Okay.
Something happens in this that sets up the Nightwing story
In Gotham.
in
Okay.
the Beast World Gotham story.
Because they both come out the same day.
Yeah.
On December 12th, this and the Gotham story. So read this one first and
Right.
then read Gotham.
Yeah. I also mentioned that I don't think it's a spoiler. It's just briefly shown in it. Animal Man is in this,
Oh, very
and I
cool.
feel like, oh yeah, like why would I not have
Yeah,
thought
of
Animal
course
Man
he's in
would
it,
be
yeah.
involved in this? So I'm really excited to read this whole thing. I think people are going to be very surprised by what characters get turned into what, and I think that's going to be part of the fun is that reveal.
Well, I'm really interested in the Amanda Waller aspect of it because like she's just been sort of lingering in the background
Yeah.
ever since all this Donna DC stuff started. We haven't seen her much, but now in this series, she's gonna like finally make her move.
Yep.
And like what she's been up to for this last year, we're finally gonna see that.
Next up, we've got Star Wars: The High Republic, #2 of Phase 3. So, issue #1 came out of this last week. Was really, really good. Very excited to be back with some of the original characters from Phase 1. But in this one, Keith Trennis, who is kind of our main character we're following, has been captured. The Hutts are making a deal with the Nile, who have now started to become more of a organized government, even though they're still really bad. And there is going to be possibly a new first appearance of a character called the Child of the Storm. We don't quite know who this character is. We know the Nile is kind of referred to. All their stuff is very storm related. So is this going to be like Marchion Rose kid, or is it going to be something else? We don't know, but it sounds really cool. And we already know that a lot of this is feeding into the new show, The Acolyte.
Oh yeah, I
Coming
forgot
up.
about that.
I mean, we know one of the characters from this, Vernesta Rowe, is going to be in The Acolyte. They've
Okay.
already cast and everything. So it's really exciting, and I love all this. This is like a long-term prequel to that show.
Yeah.
So very cool. We've got our A cover here. We've also got a Miko Suyin variant and a Rod Rice variant as well.
So next is Superior Spider-Man #2. The first issue has not come out yet, but it does come out next week, and we will be talking about that on our next Monday's video, just previewing some of the big books coming out next week. So stay tuned for that. But this is #2, and in this one, the sins of Doc Ock's past are exacting a heavy toll on the present. So I think we could probably figure that out from the Superior Spider-Man Returns when we met that new villain that he was responsible in creating. So I think that's alluding to that. And then one of Peter Parker's closest friends must pay the price for those sins. So I hope this isn't another Peter Parker's friends die or something like that. I mean, maybe they'll just like sprain their ankle or something. But I still just want to know, like, Superior, like, is Doc Ock gonna be the Superior Spider-Man
That's the
again?
thing, we see like Superior Spider-Man on the cover, but we've not seen a way of Superior Spider-Man coming back.
Not yet. So I that's what I was
Is it
thinking.
flashbacks or is it?
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Issue #1 would tell us for sure, but we got to wait just a few more days before we can get at it. But yeah, this is our A cover right here, and then we have a encoded suit variant. So this is from Spider-Man 2. I think I do have that suit. And then this is a Nick Klein Stormbreakers variant.
That was really fun.
Yeah, that's your Hulk artist right there. Oh, Spider-Punk. I didn't see him before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool.
And Gwen's playing drums, which is great.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
That's right.
very well thought
Mm-hmm.
through. Okay, next up we have issue number 2 of Batman Santa Claus Silent Night. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries, so we're continuing on with that. I actually really like this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they do one shots, and they're still doing a one shot this year that has
Right.
multiple stories. But to have it a little like mini series around Christmas, I think it's a really cool idea that you don't see a lot of.
The only thing is, like, it'll be done like Christmas will be done before the series is
You think
wrapped
so?
up. Well, actually,
I
I
think
don't
this one might be
know
a weekly also.
because I talked about number one last
Yeah.
week when you weren't here either. So holy cow, good
Yeah.
job, DC, on the weekly books. Yeah,
Let's see if that's really how it goes,
yeah.
but it would make sense for this to come out all in December. In this one, Krampus is on the loose on
Ooh.
Earth and is unleashing monsters to destroy Christmas. So it sounds like Krampus has the ability to unleash things because there's going to be a horde of vampires in Bloodhaven. It's a little extra Krampus lore you might not have known about is his ability to lead vampires.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Santa will have to have the help of the Justice League to face them. So it just sounds really fun. It has, Batman centered, but it sounds like the whole Justice League are going to be involved. It's really fun. I love this. I feel like DC does this so well. Just like fun,
Hmm?
weird little things that are, some people would think are really goofy, but I think they're a lot of
That's what
fun.
comic books are supposed to be, though. They're supposed
Yeah.
to be just fun stories.
So we've got our A cover here, and we have this Lierix Lee variant as well.
Next is Speed Force number 2. So this is another one where the first issue isn't out yet, but it comes out next week. We'll again be talking about this one next Monday on our preview video. But this is number 2, and this one, Wallace and Avery are continuing to investigate the mystery of some missing Star Lab scientists. But there's something is affecting their friends. And now this makes it sound like it kind of ties into the Sci Spurrier flash tale right now because it says that there's bubbles popping up all over Keystone City, which makes me think of those bubbles that Grodd
Yeah.
was using in the Flash. And it says, or the spooky Speed Force stuff that Mr. Terrific has been warning everybody about. And we know that in that series, Wally has been working with Mr. Terrific on something weird with the Speed Force. So it sounds like that book is tying in or influencing this a little bit, which sounds really cool. So yeah, stay tuned for next week. We'll be talking about the first issue, but go ahead and pre-order your second issue now. This is our A cover for Mike Deodato Jr., and then we have a Sweeney Boo variant as well.
Very cool. Okay, next up we have Outsiders number 2. This is going to be a 12-issue, I guess, maxi series.
Mhm.
Issue number 1 of this comes out this week, so very excited to check that out. And I've skimmed through issue number 1, and I felt like I kind of knew where the series was going, but then I see this, and it sounds like they're going to be tackling a lot of different mysteries in the DC universe. So there is one in the first one, but a lot of it's set in like the Arctic. In this
Yeah.
one, it sounds like it's going to be a lot in the ocean, which I think is really cool that they're going to be exploring a lot of the DC mysteries. So in this one, Kate Kane and the Outsiders investigate they call it like a forever storm that's popped up in the mid-Atlantic, and it's been going on for years in one spot. So they're going to be diving down below it to see what is going on. But I think a really exciting part about this is it says that will they survive facing off against the challengers of the unknown, or a new challengers of the unknown. So it sounds like there's going to be maybe a new bad version of the challengers, which I always really like them. They're from
Yeah.
your classic adventure era comic
That's
books.
Jack Kirby doing his stuff at DC, sort of recreating the Fantastic Four, but
Yeah,
for
and I think
DC.
the last time we saw him was Death Metal, where they had a big thing to do with Challenger Mountain got moved and
Yeah.
all of that. So I'm interested to see what version this is going to take on. But I'm very excited to read this one. Issue 1, from what I've seen, looks really good, and we'll be talking about that on our Monday show coming up. So this is our A cover for that. And we also have this David Marquez variant as well.
I like that one.
Mhm.
All right, so Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos. This is number 3. Number 2 comes out next week as well. We'll be talking about that next week. But in this one, Cap Wolf and the Commandos, they are ready to take down their foes at Wolfshan's. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It sounds like I think that's the base that they came across or they were trying to break into in the first issue. But the Nazis have a secret weapon up their sleeves. So maybe it's another werewolf.
We
Maybe it's
got
a
some werewolves up their sleeves.
yeah. Maybe it's a werewolf Red Skull. That would be cool.
Oh,
Like
that would be
Cap
cool.
Wolf and Skull Wolf. That would be
If his
neat.
head's just like a wolf skull, but
Yeah.
all red,
Ooh, oh, that would be
that'd
neat.
be sick.
Make it happen, Marvel. You can have that for free. So we have our A cover right here, and then we have a Albuquerque variant as well.
I love this because Raphael Albuquerque was your artist on American Vampire.
Yeah,
It's seemed to do like a werewolf. It's
yeah.
just really cool.
Now he needs to do Frankenstein, and he
Yeah.
needs to do Mummy.
Okay, next up we got Wesley Dodds Sandman issue number 3. Issue number 2 comes out this week, so I think we'll know a little bit more about the overall story when we get into that. But this one sounds really cool because Sandman's continuing to investigate his missing diary. It's got all of his notes about all of his different chemicals that he's made for his sleeping serum. But he comes face to face with maybe who got it, and it sounds like there's a new enemy called the Fog that he's going to be going up against. So really cool. I can't wait to read issue number 2. I loved issue number 1,
Yeah, number
so
one was great.
this is already going to be probably one of my favorite series.
Yep.
This is our A cover here, and then so fitting. I feel like Jeff Lemire could do whole Sandman book, but this is the Jeff Lemire variant.
Next is Daredevil Black Armor number 2. The first issue of this hasn't come out yet, and it doesn't come out, I think, until like 2 weeks from now. Like the 22nd, I think, was the date. So still a couple more weeks to wait before we get the first issue. But you know, just in case you didn't know or you missed it, this is a miniseries set back in the time when Daredevil was wearing his black and red and the sort of metal sort of armor that he was wearing back in the 90s. This is set in and around that time. In this one, Hobgoblin and Kingpin and Spider-Man, they all come calling. Also, a mysterious foe whose powers trump them all. So I'm so on board for this. I love that cover. Like that's super classic, like Sabretooth and Hobgoblin and going up against Daredevil. I'm super excited for this. I actually like that costume. Like take off the metal bits, and I think that that's actually a really solid costume. So I'm looking forward to this one. We have our A cover right here. We have a Martin Coccolo Stormbreakers variant, which is really, really good. And we have a Netho Diaz variant, and that is your interior artist.
which is awesome.
Yeah, so that's going to be a good looking book on the inside, too.
Okay, next up is Alien number 2. So it seems like they're going to be doing all these Alien books, at least so far, in kind of chapters or books or whatever. They restart them at number 1 after
Yeah.
the storyline's over. So the number 1 is going to be coming out this week, but we're already ready to place our orders for number 2. And it sounds really interesting because Wayland Yutani, it seems like they have created like a vacation spot on a icy frozen moon. It talks about all the fun stuff you can do there, but of course, there's probably also some frozen aliens there as well. So we'll have to read the issue number 1 to find out exactly what's going on. But definitely check with your store because it's not guaranteed that they're going to move you from the previous Alien series to this next one. So just let them know that you want to be on all the Alien stuff and definitely this next one. This is our A cover. And then this is the variant, and I'm not positive. Some places are saying this is an open order variant, and some places are saying this is the 1 in 25 variant. So just keep an eye on that to see what it ends up being. Sometimes they get their wording a little bit off for which one is which. So that is at least a variant for it.
Next is God's number 3, and God,
all about this in detail.
I'm not even going to pretend to like when we prepare for the show, we make notes based on what the solicitations say, and we have them all right here. The solicitations for every issue of Gods have been nonsense. Basically, like nothing that makes any kind of sense whatsoever.
After you read the issue, and you can kind of be like, "Oh, I kind of get what they said there."
Well, yeah, like the first one was like, "There's a Abraham Lincoln penny on the ground or something." Like, what in the world? But then there was one.
John Wilkes Booth
penny, and then there was one in the first issue, which actually played a part in the story. So after you read it, yes, they do make sense. But I'm not even going to try to pretend like I know what's going to happen in this book. But it's just more of Hickman reshaping Marvel's cosmic side of things. Still don't quite know how that's going to happen yet or what that's going to look like based on the first 2 issues. But if you're invested in the series, here is number 3. So we have our A cover right here. We have a wrong limb, cosmic homage variant, and you were saying that it does look like an old school like '90s
Yeah, I
cover.
forgot what book this is supposed to look like. If you know, let us know in the comments. But
The logo make
yeah,
shoot, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, there's our homage cover, and then there's our Russell Dodderman variant as well with Aiko.
yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah,
It's,
she's
I
cool.
feel like out of all the characters, like I've kind of been able to follow her and like
Yeah.
kind of understand what she's doing. Okay, next up we've got cool covers. These are covers we want to make sure you didn't miss, whether they're for number 4s or 48s. We got them all. So starting with Action Comics number 1060. So this sounds like it's a pretty big issue, even though it's like a pseudo landmark. You know, now they like to celebrate every 10 issues
Right.
that they've been around. But this is issue 1060. This is our Jim Chung variant. And it does say this is a Titans Beast World tie-in. I think one of the stories ties in with it, but I'm not sure how much. And in this, we're going to have a story where Superman teams up with Constantine, Etrigan, and the newly returned Bloodwind.
Yes,
Him
I'm really
having
excited for
the
that.
Doomsday special.
Right.
I think that sounds really cool. There's going to be a Dreamer story, which I believe her story is the Beast World story. I'm not positive, but that's the one I think. And then this
I think
has
it is. Sorry to cut you off, but like I think she has a story in that Metropolis one
yeah.
shot tie-in. I'm pretty sure, so it's probably the same.
Yeah, I think so. I think hers is that one. And then there's going to be a story about Zod's son that's going to be a prelude to the new Kneel Before Zod #1 new miniseries. So I
Okay.
think that's going to be pretty interesting too. You can
Yeah.
check that one out. If you're looking forward to that new miniseries, you get a little taste of it here. Like I said, this is the Jim Chung variant, which I think is really
Yeah, I try
nice.
to always just go for the A covers, but oh my gosh, that is really nice.
We also have, I love this one too, the
Yeah.
Jorge Jimenez cover. I always liked Superman being just a nice guy,
Yep.
just playing with kids and stuff. And we also have this Masafara Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom variant as well, getting ready for that new movie.
Yep. Next is Batman and Robin #4. This very awesome homage cover to Batman and Robin #1 when Dick Grayson was Batman. In this one, Batman is going to work with the White Rabbit to track down the new character Shush, the new villain Shush, while Damian hunts down the criminal mastermind who's been targeting Batman, but he's not going to like who he finds.
Hmm.
Maybe he finds Santa Claus. Maybe
Maybe.
Santa Claus has been targeting Batman this whole time, and then that leads into Batman, Santa Claus, Silent
I
Night.
think you've already figured it
We
out.
cracked the code. But yeah, we just wanted to show off this very cool homage variant.
I like even the black bar at the top. I think, didn't they used to say
Wasn't that
reborn or whatever?
RIP or was
Or
that
maybe it was the RIP one.
or was this no, that was RIP was
RIP
before.
was before this, and then this was while like they about did the Return of Bruce Wayne. I think they
Yeah,
said
that
like
miniseries.
Reborn or
Uh-huh. Yeah,
whatever,
something like that.
but just very cool, and I love that original cover, so it's great to
Mhm.
see this homage. Next up, we have Green Lantern #6. This is the Santa Claus homage variant by Jeff Spokes, which I can't remember the issue number, but it's Parallax, right? It's Parallax with all of the after he kills the Green Lantern Corps, and he's
Yeah,
got
it's
all
well,
the
he's not
red.
Parallax yet, but
He's
it's
got the
after.
white temples,
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
believe.
like Green Lantern, like 47, I think, or somewhere in there. Yeah, it's after he wipes out Coast City, or after he wipes out, excuse me, the core. Yeah, and he takes all
Yeah,
the rings, and he's,
yeah. Great classic cover, and that just makes that Santa way more sinister.
yeah,
Also, that looks a lot like the Tim Allen from the Santa
it does, yeah.
Claus. So, yep, there's that awesome variant for that.
And then we have this very cool variant for World's Finest Teen Titans #6. This is the last issue of this miniseries. In this one, there's a big showdown between the Teen Titans and the Anti Titans. Also, Mal is going to help Aqualad with his dating problems. Bumblebee is going to question her feelings for Mal. Donna must choose between Paradise Island and Man's World, and then Robin and Speedy are going to try to patch things up and sort of find a common middle ground
Oh, it sounds like
to
everybody's
be
gonna
friends.
have some kind of resolution.
Well, yeah, it's the last issue of the miniseries, so I guess they're trying to wrap everything up. But yeah, we had to show this very cool Dan Mora
Yeah.
cover.
Okay, next up we've got Amazing Spider-Man issue number 40. So they're also kind of treating this as a big issue. It's still continuing the gang war story. This is actually our A cover for that. But it says also, you won't believe your eyes reading the last page of this issue. So I don't know what my eyes cannot believe, but
Paul is going to be behind the whole thing.
you just want to throw Paul under
I
the
just
bus
want Paul to
constantly.
be gone forever.
So I'm excited to see what happens in this. I'm pretty excited about the gang war story. I like the characters involved in it and everything.
I like a good street level
Yeah,
story, you know.
especially after all the really like high concept stuff, to have just like Spider-Man punching
Yeah,
thugs and that kind
exactly.
of thing is going to
Yeah.
be really good. So this is our A cover by John Romita Jr. We also have, this is the which suit do they call this?
That's the 25th
25th
century.
century suit. It's very Ant-Man looking.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Sean Cheeks Galloway Saturday morning cartoon variant. We've got this really nice J. Scott Campbell ski chalet variant. We have this Joey Vasquez variant. We have a Peach Momoko variant as well. So they're doing a lot of covers for this. So that's what makes me think they think this is going to be a big issue.
Yeah, I think so. And next is Uncanny Spider-Man #5. This is the Peach Momoko variant. I just read the last week's issue this morning. Is so good. In this one, Mystique has gone missing, mutant kind is scattered and hunted, and Nightcrawler is going to have to finally face the demons that he's been keeping in the shadows. We know that he's been very fun-loving in this series, but there's also been a little tiny sort of dark side to him as well. And it's all going to come to a head in this one. And yeah, this really cool Momoko Nightmare variant. We've seen a few of these over the last couple weeks.
Yeah. Next up, we have Wolverine issue 40. So a lot of books hitting issue number 40. And this is going to wrap up the Last Mutant Standing storyline for kind of Wolverine's Fall of the Mutant, Fall of X stuff. I'll be interested to see where he goes after this, because he's kind of hasn't really been too big into the ongoing X-Men story, but it sounds like they may be going to be pulling him back into that. So in this issue, he teams up with Spider-Man to fight off the Stark Sentinels. So I always love seeing a good Wolverine and Spider-Man team up.
It makes me think of the 90s because Spider-Man was always popping up in other books,
Yeah.
or Wolverine was always popping up in like they were always sort of meeting, like, yeah, there's we haven't seen Spider-Man and Wolverine together in a really long time.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like out of all the people, Wolverine hates a lot of people, but I think he likes Spider-Man. They
tolerates
he
Spider-Man.
tolerates
Yeah.
Spider-Man. We also have this Peach Momoko Nightmare variant,
That
which
is the
is
nightmare.
really nightmarish.
Next is a Doctor Strange #10. This is going to feature a big showdown between Doctor Strange and General Strange, which should be really cool. I don't know how Doctor Strange could possibly be himself, but with 5,000 years of battle experience. But, well, actually, it says, what dark creature will Doctor Strange have to become to beat General Strange? So this
He's
should
gonna
be
have
really
to become
cool.
that little snowman
That
in the
little,
background.
yeah, that little cute little, and then General Strange is like, oh, it's so cute, I can't fight you anymore. But yeah, this cover is from Villa Lobos. This is one of these ski chalet variants.
Next up, we've got graphic novels and more, like graphic novels and second and third printings of things. So let's check it out, starting with Big Game. This is going to collect issues 1 through 5. Issue 5 actually comes out this week, so I'll know exactly what all is contained within here in the Mark Miller and Pepe Larraz epic that crosses over all of the Miller properties. I've really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah.
It is so over the top,
Yeah, it is.
crazy. But you can get all issues 1 through 5 in this collected edition for $17.99.
Next is the hardcover collection of Peacemaker Tries Hard. This book, I haven't read the whole thing, but the first 2 or 3 issues that I have read, it's awesome. Like, if you liked the TV show, read this, because it feels exactly the same. It's a Black Label book, so it can do its own thing. Peacemaker in this feels very different from the Peacemaker that we're getting in the main DC continuity right now. He's a lot more like the show, and it's like he's a lot more silly. There's a lot more humor. The artwork is really good. The action is over the top. There's language and violence, and it's just a very, very entertaining read. So this collects the entire miniseries, and it's going to be $24.99.
And next up, we have Dawn of DC's Night Terrors hardcover. So this is going to be $29.99. If you, for some reason, skipped over Night Terrors, which actually turned out to be a big hit, people loving Night Terrors, you can get this collected edition of the main storyline. So you're going to get First Blood, which kind of kicks it off. You get issue 1 through 4 of the main title, and you get Night's End, which capped it off, plus the story from Free Comic Book Day, which was about Damien
That's right.
and his nightmares and
Yeah.
all of that. So you get all of that in this hardcover for $29.99, and I highly recommend it. It's a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
it was fun. Next is Transformers #1, third printing. So if you missed it the first time, and if you missed it the second time, don't miss it the third time, because this book is fantastic. We just talked about issue 2 this week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was really good too. Really excited for issue 3. So yeah, just the third printing of this really, really awesome Transformers book.
But Starscream and Ratchet?
It is.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep.
And next up, we have Wesley Dodds' The Sandman #1, second printing. So, like we said, issue number 2 comes out this week. So you can, if you missed out on that, I believe we sold out of it here. I mean, it was, it's pretty cool for a Golden Age character to sell out.
Yeah.
You can get this really cool second
Design
printing
variant, right?
design
Yeah.
variant where you can see all the different looks and everything with Riley Rossmo's art. So pick that one up if you missed the #1 or if you're trying to collect all the covers.
Yeah, Rossmo's art, we talked about before, it doesn't work for everything, but it really works with that
Yeah.
book. It's really good.
And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to head over to infinityflux.net right now, right this second. What are you waiting for? To pre-order all of your comics. Like we said, your orders are due Sunday by 9 o'clock, so don't miss out on that deadline to make sure that you get everything you want. If you shop with us, thank you so much. If you shop with another store, hopefully this helped them and helped you get your orders placed and they know what to order. That's what this is all about. So thank you so much for watching, and until Monday when we do our early comic review show, see ya.